Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Okay.
There we go. We're recording now. But now you were asking if I'm active at flipping, and I am in Colorado. I was doing at my peak around 50 deals in a year,
Wow.
and that has significantly reduced. I'd say the last year I probably finished like 15, 16 deals, somewhere in that range. Um, and basically, things were wonderful all the way through like 2022. And then when rates went up, it kind of choked the market off. And 2023 was challenging, and 2024 has been challenging too. So it also the landscape, of advertising for to get leads has drastically changed through the last couple of years.
Mm.
And I had a group called Broker Investor, and before that I called it Self-Made Flipper, that I was showing what I was doing with bringing in motivated seller leads and everything I was working in my business, and it really stopped working. Like it was after 2022. So yeah, my leads were expensive. It was hard to close deals, and I just didn't have a lot to offer to the group. So I stopped doing it, and now I've got my lead machine ticking. It's working great. I'm bringing in leads for on Google at like $32 a piece, and
Wow.
Facebook I'm averaging 64, 65. Or I'll share my screen and show it to you, but it's it really was figuring out how to use AI with Facebook ads. That was a game changer. And then the other game changer was understanding how Google was using AI in Google Ads and how that was changing the way that you had to run your Google Ads account in order to get low cost leads, because what used to work didn't work anymore. And so that's the two things I figured out that I thought I could go over on this Zoom call, and other people can do the same thing in their markets and have hopefully it works great in California too. I only know how it works in Denver. So
No, that'd be great. Lead
yeah.
is quite expensive in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
allocate. Like same thing like Denver, right? The spread is big, but then it take a lot of investment to make the marketing work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like throw money down the drain. Yeah. Uh, so you had figured out that's great. That's like a gold mine then.
Yeah. Well, for some context, so you can compare it to California, I was paying anywhere from, it would fluctuate, but from 270 a lead up to 350 a lead on Google just 2 years ago. Like that,
Hmm.
they were expensive as hell. And on Facebook, it was a lot better. I was bringing them in around 110, 100, somewhere in that range back then. And so now I think it's a combination of competitors giving up and throwing in the towel, and then getting used to how the platforms have evolved now that AI's out there. And the combination of the two things has really brought lead costs down. So I don't know what it used to cost in California, but my guess is it's probably similar
Yeah, yeah, it's quite similar. Yeah,
to
yeah.
Denver. Um,
How's the market there? Real estate still keep going up, like some
yeah.
other, yeah,
Well,
stabilized.
no, it's a mixed bag, right? So I feel like, hey Phil. Well, I don't know when you popped in, but glad you're joining us. Uh, if I remember right, Phil, I think you're in Denver also.
I'm in Phoenix.
Phoenix. All
Oh,
right, never mind. Well,
Close.
that's
Phoenix.
good. I mean, those are
Cool.
good market. Phoenix and Denver are very, hot
Yeah.
market. Yeah, that's great.
Our market, I would say it peaked out. Uh, the first time it peaked out was like June 2023. And then I'd say we went down about 10-15%, depending on which neighborhood you looked at, between June 2023 and December. And then we gained all that back in the spring of 2024. And I would say from June this last year to now, we're probably down about 5%. So not much. It's been pretty flat. If you're looking at the downtown market in Denver, and I think this is going to be Denver centric. I don't think it's going to apply to bigger cities in other states as much, but in Denver, we became a sanctuary city, and so the homeless problem like just went through the roof in downtown
Wow.
Denver. And if you have a condo to sell, you're down like, I don't know, 25% or so in the last like 6 months at
Oh
least.
my.
It
Really?
is bad.
That's
Yeah,
bad. Oh my
bad.
goodness. Wow. 25%. That's a lot.
It,
Wow.
real bad. Like there was a condo I was flipping that was a 3 bed, 2 bath in the hottest part of downtown, like right at like the at Larimer Square and 16th Street Mall, if you're familiar with Denver, but like that is like the hub of everything. And I
Uh-huh.
had comps selling at like 820, 830 for the exact same floor plan when I bought it. And that was I bought it in like November 23. And I ended up having to give that thing away about 2 months ago for 710. So
Wow.
$140,000, you know, correction off of what it was. And I feel like I got out good, like compared to what some other people have been. So
Really?
Denver's taking a beating. What about Phoenix and Sacramento? Where how are you guys' markets been?
Phoenix has been similar with the we initially when the rates went up, it kind of shook everything out and probably went down 20, 25%. Um, I've I was still buying probably one or two properties every other month here. I did find it to be easier because obviously the competition had kind of fled. But this type of market has definitely forced me to make sure the numbers are correct, but also re-examine like what actually needs to go into the home and not take so long on the flips. Because it has taught you like you don't really have all the time in the world to get these done. So it's been interesting, and I feel like if you can kind of if you've been able to work through these 2 years with all the learning lessons, and you can kind of come out of it, it's definitely made you better because I think the previous 2 years was kind of like a artificial success type of thing for everyone, and these last 2 years, the ones that have consistently kept doing it, even if you take some losses on a couple of properties, I think it's gone a lot further away for me um, to see all my blind spots that I didn't see in a hot market.
Yeah, I think that
It's true.
really sums it up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Same thing here in California. I have not done any deal recently because I'm trying trying to be sure I don't, end up uh keeping the project so long and cannot flip. So I'm kind of careful. Yeah. Have
Yeah.
not located a super deal that I know that had enough margin to be sure that if the market correct, then I won't end up losing. Uh, yeah, losing the money. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I've noticed here is I feel like the buyers in the if your markets will be a different price point cut, but here if you're 800,000 and up, the buyers are going to be extremely picky, and you're almost better to err on the side of over renovation instead of under renovation when you're 800 and up. But when you're like say 700, 650, 700 and down, it's almost the opposite is true that those buyers are extremely price sensitive and you're
Mm.
better off to do less. Like it still needs to look nice, but you can do that with paint and flooring and maybe not remodel the bathroom off the hall and just hit the master and the uh, kitchen and try to squeeze every penny off of it because they're more price sensitive. So,
Well, our entry level homes, there's still a demand for entry level in Phoenix, and so the entry level price point is now you're around 350. And the one thing I've noticed is kind of like what you were alluding to is in that particular price point, livability and pricing it right is more important than over upgrading it.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way where sometimes, depending on the price point, livability goes a long way. And as long as you can price it right, there's still like a demand here where you can still get an offer sheet within 30 days or less, just because these buyers waited through the hot market and they're just trying to get into the market. And so that seems to still kind of be a good price point to stay around versus the higher price points.
Yep. That right on par with my experience. But
You were toying around with a couple of things. So I noticed that my radio ads have worked a lot better the past couple of years. But the last time you had like a video meeting, you were toying around with like some Hulu stuff. Did you figure anything out on that end, or did you test anything?
yeah, so the Hulu ads, I can't get to pencil. I gave up on it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
curious because I see them advertise on Instagram, like you can advertise on Hulu, and I always think of you because I remember last time you were kind of toying with it, and I was curious if you had seen anything with it.
I think it's more of a branding play. So I think with the Hulu, uh, it's hard to quantify, which is what I don't like about it. Because I think it's a lot of the leads that could come through Hulu, you can't contribute back to Hulu, so you don't really know for sure where it's coming from.
Hmm.
And they're expensive as hell. So I but I'm killing it with both Google and Facebook right now, which has been
Really?
I wasn't. I was getting my ass kicked by both platforms for a
Hmm.
very long time. And
Yeah.
it was about 4 months ago that
Hmm.
I just put all my time and energy into getting it fixed because that that's the lifeblood of my business and it was choking me off. So um
How many leads you get normally, Eric?
here, let me show my screen. Here I can I think answer
Yeah,
my question better with
I mean for the time constraint, right? Because we don't want to spend all morning.
yeah, I won't go into big detail, but here's my Google ads for the month of November. I have see where's my total conversions. So 59 conversions in the last month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and this is because it's working well and I'm just spending more and more on it. I just keep choking it up. But here I'm getting $33 per lead on just standard old Google conversions. And
Wow.
the trick here, so if you're proficient with Google Ads, I'll give you a couple quick tweaks you can make that'll just like fix it. You can just turn on your old campaign and probably have a lot of success. And you in the past, you could use here, let me go back to this. In the past, you could use broad keywords and you could choke off the bad leads by using negative keywords. So you could put phrases in like buy a house and yeah, I have a spreadsheet with like 2,000 plus spread terms that would weed out any buyers because you're not looking for buyers, you want sellers. So you could open up your keywords and you could have broad match and then use the negative keywords to make sure you don't have to pay for all these bad leads. But
Hmm.
what Google did, they started using AI
Yeah.
to give you to so if you had a broad match keyword that was like sell my house, they started using AI to try to find other keywords like that keyword and without telling you, like they don't even ask you. Like they're just going to take your broad match keyword and broaden it even more. And
Hmm.
it'll get around your negative keywords too, where your cost per lead, if you were just doing, because I was doing this. So I had my Google Ads account on, I never quit doing it. And I was paying like close to $300 a lead back in 2022 early on. And
Hmm.
I was down to like $60 a lead and less than that even come this last June. The problem was all the leads were total shit. Like
Hmm.
just bad. Like people, I even think that Google is sending people to like lead forms and then counting them as a conversion to like other people's ads. As soon as they rolled out AI, and you can see it in their platform, all the AI stuff. As soon as they did that, it changed. So what I did to fix it is I deleted every single broad match keyword out of my account. So I only do phrase match keywords and exact match keywords and more of them. And then I'm adding more exact match and phrase match keywords by once a month going through all of the search terms. And I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, that looks like somebody that would be somebody I'd want, that looks like a good lead. So I'm going to add that exact search term to my account, but I keep it choked. I will not let Google ever use broad match. And it has changed the game. Like my leads are great now. My cost per lead is down. It's awesome. To show you quick some things that back to here. If you go to recommendations on Google Ads, they added, they always want you to increase your budget, which is funny. They want you to spend more money, of course. No matter how much you spend, they always say you need to spend more. But so ignore that. But they want you to do the lead forms. I think this is a bad idea. Do not do the lead forms in the Google Ads. That will give you shit leads. Let me see if I can find it. The add new keywords, and they suggest them now with AI, which this is awesome. I like to look at these recommendations, which is cool. And you can just go down and click next to like these are good ones,
Mhm.
but they're only phrase match, right? You only want to add phrase match. You don't add any uh, exact match. But there's there's a lot of good stuff in the recommendations that didn't used to be there. And what you want to avoid, though, if I can, should I go back to recommendations? And here's all my dismissed ones. Add broad match keywords. They're going to tell you that your campaign will be so much more optimized if you add these broad match. Don't do it. Ignore it. This will be your kiss of death. Your leads will suck. Um, and this one too. Oh, no, it's not even showing anymore. But they'll say remove conflicting negative keywords. They'll try to get you to do that. Don't ever do that. If you remove a conflicting negative keyword, it's just the reason it does it the wrong way. You want to remove the keyword, not the negative keyword. The negative keywords are there for a reason, so you don't end up with bad leads. But
Mhm.
that's it on a high level. I put together there's a spreadsheet that I did that will, let's see if I can, might be here. Yeah, here we go. So I did this a long time ago and it worked for a long time. I've redone it to work with the new way that Google Ads works. But it's a spreadsheet where you just put in your cities names, your campaign name, the website you send people to in your investment area, and it gives you like I think it's over 5,000 keywords. Yeah, like 5,000 keywords. And these are all the search terms that are bringing in leads for me and have throughout like the last 10, 15 years. It's all the best ones. And then you add your city names behind it. So, like, what is the process of selling a home? And then Windsor, Louisville, Erie, Longmont. And you do phrase match and exact match. And there's a software called Google Ads Editor that you can take this spreadsheet, copy paste it into the Google Ads Editor, and it will just build out your entire Google campaign. And you can copy in your ads, site links, call outs, all my negative keywords that I've done throughout the years, and you just switch out. Like you might be in Mississippi, right? So you would want to take that out and put in uh, Colorado probably as a negative keyword. But this would be a quick, easy way to get up and running with Google Ads. And in the group, the Google Ads for Motivated Sellers, this is built out now. It's a course that just takes you step by step. It takes about an hour to go from no Google Ads account to a Google Ads account that's just like this one that I was just showing you to start with. So if that's something either of you would have any interest in, I put that together. Now with Facebook ads, what I've learned is you put it together a good ad and it'll work. It has a lifespan on it. right? Unless somebody comments, like sometimes you get like haters, they'll comment on your ad, which is great, and then it will kind of go viral because the
Mm.
engagement rate ranking goes up
Hmm.
and you can get a lot of traction out of an ad. But
Wow.
if it doesn't, they die off on you. So
Oh,
you need to have fresh new ads like all the time. So I was trying to get AI to make the image. Here, I'll show you an example of here. See this one. This is a pretty good one. Make this bigger. So there's an ad that I made, well, artificial intelligence made. They made the
Wow.
image, and then they also made all the text, right? And
Jeez.
so at first, I was having a problem because AI makes images that are really shitty with the words, right? Like
Yeah.
it'll misspell crap. I don't know if
Hmm.
has anyone here played, have either of you played around with it?
no.
All
No,
right.
I
So
haven't. The guy that was running my Facebook ads was saying the same thing.
there's an easy fix to it though, right? So that was my first problem. I was like, I could get a fairly good picture, but I couldn't get it quite right and it would misspell things. Canva has AI,
Oh, jeez.
right? And so see if I have tab. All right. So for instance, AI made this. AI, Facebook, it's like almost good, but it's not quite because shit's spelled wrong and stuff. This was not an ad, by the way. I'm just using this because I have it open. This was a logo. I was trying to create a logo for the school account. See if I can get, yeah, here for the motivated seller lead
Hmm.
bucket on here. So I asked AI to make my logo. Sorry, this drop down menu here, get out of it. And it made it wrong, right? Like it almost did it, but it didn't sell it right. So if you use Canva and use the paid version of Canva, what you can do here, I'll just make a new one to show you guys quick. This is the coolest thing. We'll do it on an ad here quick. So just playing around with this. Let's find an ad here. Here we go. Here's a Facebook ad, the same one we were just looking at. So let's say I want to upload in a new ad. I've got um, I had AI make this ad as if I was selling an inherited house in Waco, Texas. And so AI came up with this image, which here I'll upload it into Canva so we can fix it. Here, why am I not? There we go. Uploads, upload file, downloads. And okay, is it already in the front? So here's the image, and it's almost great, right? Except for this makes no sense. Like the
Right.
right? So what you can do in Canva is you come down here to this magic thing, and I think it's like 20 bucks a month for it's not
Yeah.
very expensive for the paid
Hmm.
Canva thing. And you go show more, and there's grab text. So you run the grab text, it's thinking for a sec. It grabbed all the text. And so we're gonna want all text, grab it. It's gonna think for a sec. It's gonna find a similar, font. And now you can go in and click on the text and
Wow.
word it. And here, we can get it back tilted with the sign. There's a little bit of work to be done with it. And that line, I can erase it too. But so we can sell inherited house fast is spelled wrong, I think.
Hmm.
But I won't waste your guys' time going through like all of it, but you can grab the
That's pretty cool
text,
though.
move it around, right? And then you can export it. And now you've got a badass photo to use, which is exactly what I did, here with I took this and I turned that into what you see here where the words are right. And in my Facebook ads, I did the same thing. Like this had a bunch of other stupid text on it. Like it says property owner $1 million. I wrote that on the check. Before it was
Mhm.
like gibberish,
Right, right.
but now I have a good ad. Right. And the other piece is that the ads, the text on the ads are just so freaking important. Like if you're gonna have an ad that
Mhm.
works, it needs to be well written. And
Is it almost like a billboard where you know how they say on the billboard, there's this very limited amount of time to, you know, have them read whatever you're putting on there?
yes, it's got to be the words have to the text has to be perfect and the image has to grab your attention. And
Mhm.
if you can't, and there's certain elements in it, like you need a risk reversal, you need a call to action, you need there's pieces to every one of them. And so when
Mhm.
I was first starting to use AI to do these, um, I so this is so cool. Like because I wrote Sell My House Fast in Denver, AI knew to throw the mountains behind it, and it's like a picture of a house that would be in Denver. Or uh, I thought this one was pretty cool
Wow.
with divorce, no repairs needed. So it's really narrow, like getting on divorce, and I have my ad like selling your house in Denver during a divorce. So the only people that are gonna like give a shit about this ad are people that are in the middle of a divorce, but they're gonna
Mhm.
read it all the way because it's all added, it's aimed right at them with the right words and stuff. So the way that I'm doing this, so if you look at this, if I scroll down, 5 headlines. I've got, or 5 primary texts, 5 headlines, 5 descriptions, right? And the way I'm coming up, I'm not writing all of this out. I'm having
Mhm.
AI make the image here and come out with, here's the 5 primary text lines, and they go together. So like one here goes with one here, goes with one
Mm.
here. So you use these three together or these two together, and so you put them into Facebook that way, and they convert really well. So here, let me get off of screen share if I can. Here. The AI, I almost gave up on it. I tried on it, the images kind of sucked, and I thought the technology's not there. I tried to make it make some stuff for me, and it all sucked until I learned that you have to layer AI on top of each other. AI is great if you use several layers of AI. So you need AI to come up with um, general ideas. Then you need AI to read copywriting from all of the best copywriters of all time. You need it to then go through a like mini course on what you're looking for. Like you need to
Mhm.
have it needs to be attention grabbing. It needs to there's all these parameters. Like you can't just say like give me a Facebook ad. You have to say read 10,000 pages from these famous freaking people that have had the best ads they've ever created. And
Mhm.
now read these rules I'm going to give you. And now think about that. And now give me my Facebook ad stuff. And now give this to a different AI engine who's going to make a picture, one that's better at making images that goes with that text.
Jeez.
So it's awesome and it works.
Did
But
you ever I had a video that did decent on Facebook. Do you dabble in the video or is it strictly just the still pictures that you've seen success?
I do both. The video, though, is more time consuming and
Mhm.
like I have to make because AI, at least as of right now, isn't making videos that
Mhm.
are good enough that you can go because you can't just stick it in Canva and fix the imperfections.
Mhm.
It's just going to be a shitty video that looks like AI and people aren't going to look at it. So the videos, yes, are working great, but it's a lot of time. Like you have to
Mhm.
have a script, which AI can help with the script. In fact, you could use a lot of the scripts from what I was just showing you for the ads as your script for the
Mhm.
video. But then you've got to naturally on camera say the stuff in the clip and have a relevant image, either like you walking through a house or, find some, walk through that you're behind the camera with words
Mhm.
on it. But it doesn't really matter if you use video or image or what. It's all about telling them you're going to give them exactly what they want as focused as you can to that audience, and then a risk reversal, as in like they feel comfortable clicking on this ad. This isn't going to be like high sales, like sell your house for the highest price guaranteed, for instance, is a great line to put in an ad. And then what I do if someone brings that up to back that up is if I'm the realtor, if we do a fix and list deal, like what I still do lots of those. I don't want to
You
get
still
too
do those?
awesome. What's that?
You still do those?
Tons of them. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was your claim to fame when I first met you. I was
Yeah.
curious if you still did them.
Yeah. I've got 5 fix and list deals in the works right now. It's like a
Really? Okay.
majority.
I ever since I met you, gosh, a few years ago, I've done about 7 because of you.
Cool.
But it's
Nice.
funny because you really want to make sure you got the paperwork right. But it is a brilliant offer if you can make the numbers work.
Yes, yes. And if you put sell your house fast guaranteed and then you show up and you're like almost the objection is, hey, your ad said it's guaranteed, which just happened like once. You know, like most people
Hmm.
don't even remember and it's not even a thing. And I just stick it in the ads and there is no guarantee. But if they
Hmm.
bring it up, which once they have, what we did is just put in the listing agreement that we're going to put our commission at risk.
Oh,
So if it sells for under X amount, we'll say
yeah.
this is we think is a realistic price after our fix and list. If it
Hmm.
doesn't sell for this, we will reduce the amount you net less off of our commission down to 0, but we're
Hmm.
not going to go 0. And that's our guarantee. And so it's a way to have the guarantee and you'll hardly ever need to do it. But
Yeah. Did you ever slow down on those as the market shifted, or were you pretty consistent with?
no, I leaned into them heavier
Okay.
because as the market has shifted, like, I guess it's not quite the right word, but my cash offers get worse and worse because I see the risk going up. Like I'm
Sure.
scared of the
Yeah.
market, so to
Hmm.
speak.
Hmm.
And so for the risk to reward to be in balance, my cash offer just keeps getting shittier and shittier. Like,
Hmm.
and even right now, my cash offers are bad because I still don't know if they're going to lower rates. Like if mortgage rates are going to come down until I see the 30-year fixed mortgage rates start to significantly soften, I'm not going to go aggressive on any cash deal. So to keep crews busy and keep money coming in, the
Hmm.
fix and list has been the it's what's helping me survive this.
Well, I think one of the things too, which I think is very valuable, is having a couple of different options besides the cash. Because I agree with you, the past couple of years, just being able to just do a normal retail listing or like a fix up, that's huge because it really does allow you to provide something. But I think one of the things that is really good for the consumer is when they know that you don't care what route they go, you know? And I feel like there's this big thing of trust where it's like, oh, like, yeah, if you don't, obviously cash doesn't make sense if you're doing the retail side of it or whatever. I think that goes a long way, especially because here in Phoenix, at least, you probably run up against this. We deal with a lot of wholesalers too, so they almost help me out by the time I get there.
Yeah, so the wholesalers in Denver are doing the opposite. Like they're the ones making it so we can't get the deal because they're offering too much. Like and then they're counting on backing off after they get under contract. So here I won't do that, right? Which is killing me. Like it's like a conscious thing and like a integrity thing with the brand. Like I
Mhm.
don't want to go in and tell someone a cash offer I know I'm not going to honor and then wait till inspection and undercut them. But my
Mhm.
competition is. So they're
Mhm.
getting the deals, the cash deals, and I'm not. But I'm not going to shift and offer um offer more and then undercut everybody at inspection. So in your market, that's not happening so much.
Well, here's what I've noticed is I think conversion is such a big topic, right? Because when it comes to like how you're doing it, it happens here. But one of the conversations that I tend to have is after I go over the couple of options that I can do with them, I eventually segue into, hey, even if you decide not to go with me, and I'm sure you do this, a couple of things to pay attention to is if you decide to go with me, I'm your direct buyer, and then I just explain how the wholesale works. And
Yeah.
I've actually had, I would say, 5 or 6 just last year, and I've had 2 this year, where they've actually because I explained it to them, they called me back and said, "Oh, it's actually happening." Because that's a humbling call, right? Like it takes a lot for someone, but I feel like if they trust you, they'll give you the call. And then
Yeah.
it's happening to me, like you said, and I've had some of them come back on the back end with it. But I guess here I've seen it both ways. I agree where a wholesaler ties it up for a high price. I've seen that, but majority here in Phoenix, I see them. Um, it helps me so much. Maybe because it's Phoenix is such a hotbed for the wholesalers and the gurus here that these offers are so bad that my low offer that I think is like, oh, they're probably not going to take it, actually looks good to them, you know? So I would say that happens about 70% of the time if I'm dealing with wholesalers, and 30% of the time they lock it up for the higher price. Um, but it's funny because, they'll reveal the numbers to you once you go over your numbers. And my number, I just picked one up. It was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. And I was like, there's no way they'll take 345. So long story short, at the very end, she told me with the wholesalers where they were like at 280, and I thought 345 was low. So it's interesting because there's so many different things that go on during the appointment, and it kind of ties into the leads too, right? Because a lot of times when you're dealing with leads, there's so depending on if you're taking them or if someone else is taking them, sometimes it's just the process that's wrong, not necessarily the actual lead. And then it could be vice versa. But I was wanting to ask too, it seemed like the last time did you stray away from Google and Facebook for a little bit and then come back to it, or were you pretty consistent with it?
I never did. I stayed with it the whole time. It just
Uh-huh.
stopped working. And it
Right,
was,
right. I remember you had some video calls where I'm like, oh, my curiosity was like, I'm curious if he'll keep pushing through it to kind of figure it out, or if because it seemed like you were trying to figure out other ways to market.
I was doing both at the same time. So
Okay.
I was trying to find other ways and I stuck. I never did quit Facebook or Google. I
Okay.
just choked off the ad spend
Mhm.
and waited for it to maybe get better and
Mhm.
it never did. And then finally here about 4 months ago, I got it figured out again where it's working really well. So how long it's going to work well for, I don't know. I've
Mhm.
learned through the years that it's like it comes in ebbs and flows. Like Google's going to change their stuff and Facebook's going to change their stuff. It's given. And so if you find out a way to make it work, just enjoy it while you can and get
Mhm.
as many deals as you can out of it.
Mhm.
Know it's going to get changed and what you're doing is probably not going to work again. And hopefully you can figure it out. But also having Google and Facebook helps because when one stops working, you can lean into the other to survive until you figure it out.
Well, it's kind of like you don't want to be that one-legged stool. Did
Yeah.
the with your because one of the things that I noticed is I've had some success with some pay per leads. Have you ever tried any of the pay per lead services?
I have it, but there's some the way I'm set up, I have a brokerage that I give with agents in it, and I give them the leads that I get through Facebook and Google Ads. And there's another agent in my brokerage that has done a lot of that, buying the leads. And then also Brandon in Texas that was part of the Broker Buster group. I know he did a lot of buying leads directly, and it seems like it works all right, like, but they're fairly expensive at the end of the day, compared to not the cost of the lead, but the cost per deal. Because buying a lead, so if you're paying the same amount for a lead that came from Google, they typed in whatever, went to your website, branded with your company, versus a lead that just said, I want a cash offer, and then you bought that lead. I think the one that went to your website, branded for your company, is worth twice as much as the one that you paid for, and they're not half the cost. Like you're you're paying just as much, but they're not pre-sold on you.
It's such an interesting topic because I go back and forth on it a lot, and I've had a few people run Facebook ads for me in Google. And the one thing that I always am a realist about, just because I think I feel like I've done this for so long. So normally they'll say it's $2,000, $2,500 a month to manage the account. I personally don't think that's enough for a high level person to manage an account. And I think it takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of like kind of like what you're doing with your own account, right? My perception is like, dude, there's a lot of hours and testing and going back and forth. So a lot of times when you sign up with these ones where they're doing it for you, they're doing the set it and forget it. But then I have to realistically look to it. Like, honestly, I don't think that's enough. I feel like, if it's that high level, it should be freaking 20,000 a month, whatever. So I stopped doing that. But the one thing that I did notice with the pay per leads, if you can get the price on it right, there's always this debate that you go through of how much time do I want to personally spend on the back end to generate this stuff, and can somebody do it for me? So I like the pay per leads combined with me generating my own stuff, not necessarily from the back end of Facebook or like the Google stuff that you do, but like from radio ads or like Yelp, where there's going to be a portion of leads that come in, which I agree with you, that come directly to the website. Those are always going to be solid, but they're going to cost more. And then there's a part of me where the paper lead comes in because, and I understand what I'm sacrificing, but a lot of it comes down to the time too, like, your time of kind of, do I want to learn something? Do I want to maintenance the back end stuff, or can I do it where
Well,
I'm off the back of somebody else?
what you're saying, I think, is a really common view,
Hmm.
and uh, but I just don't agree with it. And
Okay.
I think if you went down the rabbit hole, you
Hmm.
would change your opinion. All right. So two problems with it. One, if you're paying somebody $2,500 a month to manage your account, which a lot of them charge that,
Hmm.
are they really doing so good that say you did half as good, but you have $2,500 to pay more in ad spend?
Hmm.
You're probably better off. Like you could just kind of throw it out there and do a shitty job of it and still be better off than you are when you factor in the management fee. And
Because that doesn't even account for the ad spend. That's just their management fee.
exactly, right?
Hmm.
So I think if you
Hmm.
take that management fee and put it on ad spend, and then you don't hold yourself to that high bar, like you don't expect yourself to be like the best ever Google Ads person. Like
Hmm.
you're going to be 75% of that guy.
Hmm.
But who cares? You're not paying a management fee, so you're still winning, right? And
Hmm.
then the other piece is the time it takes. I think you could start with zero Google AdWords knowledge and spend, like, super realistically, spend 2 hours, maybe 3 hours if you're really not tech savvy at all,
Hmm.
and have an entirely built out Google Ads campaign that you could turn on. And then you could 2 weeks later, spend an hour looking at it, going through a simple process. All you're going to do is look at search terms, and you're going to go through a list, like what people search for, and you'll just go down the list, and some you'll add as a keyword, and some you'll add as a negative keyword, and it's super easy to do within the platform. And then you forget about it again for 2 more weeks, and do it again 2 weeks from there, and then you can forget about it for a whole month. It's just the first couple weeks you don't want to let it go too long because you'll waste money. But after the first month's over, you could never look at that Google Ads account except for once a month and spend 1 hour going through search terms and spend no more time or energy on it. It's just not as hard or as complicated as people think it is.
Do
The
you think it's always been that way, or do you feel like it's reached? Because your first product that you put out, I actually spent like a couple of hours and did it, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. But do
Right.
you feel like it's just recently that you've been able to kind of get to the point where you can get to that maintenance mode of doing it every couple of weeks versus a few years ago?
It's easier now because now they've got that recommendations where they put AI into it, and where
Mhm.
as long as you don't give it free reign, like there's an auto apply thing that you can just say like, hey, always add keywords you think are good. Don't turn that on. Like that's really bad for
Yeah,
us because there's too many close keywords that are off, right? But
sure.
as long as you have an hour a month to spend on it, it's much easier than ever it used to be because all you have to do is go through the recommendations and look at them one by one and just make sure you don't ever add a phrase or a broad match keyword. You just keep these in the back of your mind. Like these are my rules. I'm never adding a broad match. So if it says that, don't do it. I'm
Hmm.
never letting them remove uh, a negative keyword,
Hmm.
and I'm never going to let them auto add keywords, like even if it's phrase match and exact match. So as long as you don't let it do those three things, all you have to do is go through and look at what it suggesting, do most of what it's suggesting, use a little bit of common sense, like just think about that search term and who the person typing it would be, right? And go through the search terms, which now you can do right within Google. Before you couldn't just go through this, before you go to search terms, you have to download it like a
Yeah.
CSV file, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I go through it and I'd move it over to like the bad column or the good column, right? Manually. And then when you're done, you have to copy and paste that back into a different section. Now you don't have to do that. Now you can just go to search terms and you can put a box next to, like, as you're going down the list, like that one, that one, that one, add negative keyword. And it adds it to the negative keyword list. So you go back through like that one, that one, that one, added a phrase match keyword. So it's way better than it used to be.
Do you feel like Facebook, would you put that on the same level with time and maintenance and stuff? Are they
So
about the same?
if you're using AI to make your ads, yes. If you're not, no, because making an image and all that ad text and they don't have shelf life on it. Like 5 out of 6 ads, you're gonna put them out there and it will work for like 3, 4 weeks, and then it'll just start to slowly get worse and worse and worse. Right. So if you don't have brand new content, like you need to pause that one out because it ran its go, right? And you get a new one, and you have to wait for those ones where you just pray for that hater that like says like, stop gentrifying my neighborhood or something. God.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah, they banter back and forth with them a little bit, and then Facebook loves your ad. Then that one's gonna live for like 6 months. It's like your golden goose. But the rest of them, you've got to just constantly make them. So, that's a little bit more time consuming, but using so even what I'm doing right now isn't all that simple because on my end I'm having to like go through the steps. I've used Zapier to like automate it a certain amount, but it's all just data. Like it's simple stuff. It's like give this data to this AI, take what it spits out, and we give it to this AI, and then take what it spits out and do like there's a process. So what I did is I found uh I'm having a program made here. It's 2 weeks out, but what it's gonna do. So right now I do all this stuff and then Zapier spits it out in a Google Doc, right? And now I got it. I can use my ad. But what's gonna be is this app. I'm 2 weeks out from being done that you'll just be able to click on. Now this isn't even clickable. It's just a placeholder. You'll click on the Facebook Ad Center and you'll type in like sell inherited house fast Denver. And then on that page, it's just going to spit out this right in front of you. And you can just copy paste the text right out and it'll keep it in a history, and you'll have an image, you'll be able to click a link and it's going to open, your image that now you can, if you have to, and I almost got it spelled right. If you have to, you put it, you take the extra step and put it into Canva. But other than that, it's all right here. And so here I'd say you probably spend an hour every 2 weeks to do it. An hour every week it will really make it take off fast. And through time, you won't have to do it as much because through time you'll have more ads that stick, right? And as you get those ones that with the comments on them, you have to spend less time like making new stuff.
What was your original goal with when you first came out with the Fix Up program? What was your ultimate goal with that versus what you're doing now?
Yeah, so before with the Fix, it was take somebody that doesn't know anything about real estate investing and then give them all the tools they need to go from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And what I found in that was it just attracted a whole lot of people. I'd prefer I don't have the patience to work with somebody with nothing and take them to something. And I don't really want to do it either because I can take that same time and energy and just go flip more houses and make like way, way, way more money. What I'm aiming at now is how do I take what I'm learning and doing in Denver Property Flip, make some tools that other investors that already know what they're doing to a certain degree can implement in their own without it eating up all my time. Like where I could get on a call like this once a week and I'm not going to have to show someone how to install a pixel on their website or I mean it was so not worth it. That's what
Well,
it was.
I went to a Russell Brunson conference. This was like 10 years ago, and he had come out with a service, and he was, promoting it in the conference. And then a year later, I went to another conference, and he was there, and I was actually talking to him in the hallway. And I said, "Oh, hey, whatever happened to that service?" And he said something really interesting that I'll never forget. He said, "One of the things that a lot of people that if you're coming out with a product or kind of like what you're doing along your lines, people never understand the amount of customer service and back end time that it could take." And he's like, and once that hit me, I was losing money hand over fist. And it's funny because, like, when I talk to some owners of the pay per lead services, they say similar stuff to you, where their ideal client isn't the beginner, someone that obviously doesn't have money. But
Right.
there's also like you're almost like this motivational coach where when someone buys a product or they're buying a pay per lead, there's also this mental game that they play with themselves where the leads are good and then 2 weeks later, oh, the leads are bad. And so it sounds like with your product, you want to try to create something that's so easy to utilize, but also a little bit more low maintenance on the back end with the customer service. And if you can get away with doing like a coaching call a week that, fits
Yeah.
your lifestyle, you're not too much in the weeds with stuff. And you kind of hit it on the head too, right? You're not, hey, this is how you put a pixel on there.
Yeah. Like here, watch this video. And if you can't figure it out from there, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like,
Yeah, because it's a time thing. And as you're
yeah.
getting older, you're like, dude, I'm getting older
Right.
here. I got to start making some money.
Yeah,
Um,
like, and I do really like I'll go to lunch once a week with like other competing investors, and like
mhm,
I like talking with other real estate people and
mhm,
being involved with it.
yeah,
And I like so these meetings when I did them with the other group, I liked talking to
yeah,
the regulars that would come on every week too. And I don't like it fills me up. It doesn't take away from me, guys, because they're
sure,
not somebody that's like looking for a motive. They're not trying to turn me into a life coach,
sure.
right?
Hmm, hmm,
So
hmm,
that's kind of, and the other way, the other difference is with this, it's like, all right, here's some tools. I know they work. Here they are. Use
hmm,
them if you want, and don't if you don't. And if this doesn't work out, like if it doesn't end up being a big money maker,
hmm,
then it doesn't, right? Like it's
yeah,
just kind of like a thing on the side. My main focus is Denver property flip,
mhm,
and this is like a, hey, if you want to network with me and use the same stuff, and we can talk about what's happening in our markets once a week, then
mhm.
awesome. And if it makes some money, that's just a cool bonus.
But as you're kind of going through this journey, it seems like you're like, hey, I'm already doing it. I might as well put it on video or put it, to where it makes sense because you're already doing it versus,
Yes.
you're not like banking on this thing to like take you from zero to hero. You already know what your main focus is and where a lot of the money's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so this tool I'm making, the Facebook ad generator, I just want that like for me. So it's
Mhm.
like, well, I'm already making it. So
Right. Well, that's
that's
the best way to do it sometimes, though, too, right? Where there is no pressure, where
right.
you're because I've had other people too where they're spending years making this app, and I'm like, man, you are totally banking on this thing to blow up, and that sometimes is the worst position you can put yourself in.
I've been there and done that. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. Then this isn't coded from zero. It's there's a platform. I wouldn't even be doing this if this didn't exist. But it's really cool. There's a software called Bubble
Hmm.
and Bubble.io. And so you can make web applications through logic and stuff on it without being a programmer.
Hmm.
And but it's still tedious and looks like
Sure.
hell. But I just hired a guy off of Fiverr that knows how to program on Bubble
Yeah.
but he's not even a programmer. Like he's just gonna sit there and go through the tedious work of like connecting this database to this database and putting in these API codes and all this crap. So it's not even like that big a deal to make a application
Hmm.
like this anymore.
It's so crazy. Well, it's just interesting how fast technology speeds up. That
Yes.
it's just
Well,
insane.
it's funny because Bubble works with AI
Hmm.
to program stuff. Like so I'm making a program that uses AI to make Facebook ads using an AI program to make it that that integrates different AI techniques. Like it's the pinnacle of all of AI like smashed in together to make something useful.
That's funny. Do you still stay in contact with the guys that do fix and flip leads, the ones
Yeah.
that were getting the bad I still buy their leads, but
Oh,
are
that's
you still in
funny.
contact with them?
So Tom Hartford is the owner of that, and
Yeah.
Alex Saldana so Alex Saldana was a agent in my brokerage that
Mhm.
kind of quit for a while to go start that with Tom,
Okay.
and it didn't work the way they wanted to. And I don't know all the details of it. I just know they were supposed to be getting these leads from mortgage companies that
Yeah.
but the mortgage companies didn't really fulfill their end of the deal to the degree they said they would.
Hmm.
So Alex wasn't happy with it. Like it wasn't worth his time anymore because it was
Yeah.
going to stay a small company.
Right.
And he couldn't, it didn't matter how good he was at sales. Like there's just no more leads to sell. So I think don't hold me to any of this because like
Yeah, yeah,
I
no,
never
it's
even
fine.
talked to Tom. I just,
That's how I met.
uh,
That's how I got a hold of you. But I've never even talked to Tom. It was more Alex. But one of the things
yeah,
that he was trying to do is he was trying to figure out ways to generate more leads.
yeah,
And there was a time where he was there's this point where he flooded my inbox with all these leads. But the issue was the quality of them. And then
yeah,
I had to slow everything down because I was getting like 15, 20 leads a day out of nowhere. Normally it was maybe one or two a day, if that. And the
yeah.
quality wasn't there. But then I was always curious. I'm like, did the mortgage companies just start sending him more leads or something? I know he had mentioned that he was trying to generate it outside the mortgage company. And
Yes,
so,
just something broke with the mortgage company. And so he left that and he's working and has been with me ever since
oh,
that.
cool.
Yeah, I see him every day. He'll probably
Oh,
be on next one of these meetings we do.
that's so cool. Does he help you on the conversion, or is he like a licensed agent that lists
Yeah,
on?
so he's a licensed agent in my
Mhm,
brokerage. So Denver Property Team is where he's got his license under. And
mhm,
I'll give him leads from
mhm,
Facebook and Google, like we were
mhm.
just talking about. But what's cool about Alex is he's the only agent in my brokerage that goes out and gets his own leads too. Like
Mm,
he's not just going to be dependent on
sure.
what I feed him. He
Yep.
goes and gets his own stuff too. So he does
Mm,
postcards and uh,
nice.
I consider him a really good friend and
Yeah.
equal in every way. Like the guy's really good at what he does. So it would be cool if he come on to one and
Yeah, because that's how I got introduced to you. But anytime I called him, he would spend like an hour on the phone with me.
yeah,
Um,
most generous guy
yeah.
ever. Like
Right. Right.
great
And I was
person.
curious because I don't, I'll get one or two leads from that lead source still because I've shut a lot of it off. But I was like, I wonder if he still works there or not. But
He doesn't eat anymore. Keith is another guy that worked there
mhm.
that doesn't anymore, and he's also in Denver Property Team and still taking leads right now in Denver
Oh,
with me.
cool.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Those are good guys to have on the team, it seems like.
yeah, it is. They're fun people to. You don't want to work with people that aren't like genuine good people to hang out with. So
Well, plus I think it helps a lot too, knowing like what it takes to generate leads. And so there's a little bit more of an appreciation for it.
yes, yeah, yeah. It's I mean, just it needs to be an equal playing field, right? Like
Mhm,
getting the leads are worth so much, and converting
mhm.
them are worth so much. And if you can get a business relationship with, that's a win-win for everyone involved. So everyone's kind of working together towards a good end, and everyone's making the money they deserve and
Mhm.
putting it together. It works really good.
I agree with that. Yeah, a couple of agents that I've had with me for 12 to 14 years, I try to think of, hey, it's going to cost me X amount to generate it. But on the back end, I want to make sure they're paid as much as I can pay them to make it worth their time because I'm not oblivious to that. It does take time on the conversion end.
Yeah, cool. So you're generating leads and giving them to agents too.
Yeah, I do the same thing. So I do the paper lead, the radio, because I can't go everywhere at once, but I have noticed that since I'm the initial contact with every lead, that I'm better off just being able to hand them off. And these two guys are trained, and it just helps save a ton of time because you just literally can't take all the appointments, you know?
Yeah, you can't. No.
Mm.
That's almost be your sole thing is like you're waiting for the calls, the leads to come in and
Mhm.
closing them.
Do you take the initial call or do you just have it automatically forwarded to your agents or
So
investor?
I use Pat Live still,
Hmm.
and so the calls are the same as a website form.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter. They just are taking the data and so it gets assigned to an agent. When it's slow, I'll put myself in rotation and I'll take
Mm.
some. When it's busier on the construction side, I I have them all go to the other agents.
Mm.
But so they'll get a text message that a new lead came in, and we use Follow Up Boss to um, keep it all organized. And
Simple. Yep.
yeah, whoever gets assigned to calls them and tries to get an appointment right away.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Well, when this software is the Facebook, the Google stuff's ready for anybody who wants to use it. The Facebook stuff, I'm probably 2 weeks away from the Fiverr guy being done with my web app. And what I'm going to do when it's done is, so I do have to pay the AI engines for like the server time,
Yeah.
but I, it's not that expensive and I don't care about it for now. I'm
Mhm.
going to just make it free for everyone in the group to use for a little while and just kind of get some feedback on, hey, is this working in other markets too? And what do you guys think? And then it'll turn into a paid thing at some point. But
Oh, nice.
to begin
That
with,
makes sense.
I'll throw it out there and you could try it out in Arizona. That would be awesome.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I was glad to see you pop up in my inbox again because when I got your email, I was like, I was wondering what happened to him.
Yeah, I kind of like was like, shit, I need to just put all my energy into making this work here in
I
Denver.
figured you were like putting your head down and
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. But it sounds like you at least got a pulse right now on it, and that's good news.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a lot of investment in Florida, which has helped too through it.
Oh, nice. I think I vaguely remember you talking about that.
Yeah, I never did let that go. Like, so uh, it's worked out perfect. I've had my lead guy. I
Mhm.
send guys all the way down to the Keys and keep them busy for a
Wow.
while when I
Wow.
had to, when we just had nothing here. And
Wow.
that was a big piece of both getting me with a residual income from short-term rental properties,
Yeah.
going and also keeping crews fully intact through the downturn. It's bad here. I mean, I get phone calls all the time from people I haven't worked with for like 5 years. Just like, do you have any work? Do you like just they're just starving. All these people from Venezuela and Colombia came in and they all can do construction and they're doing it for cheap. And the
Mhm.
Hispanic guys that I've worked with for
Mhm.
over a decade are starving. Like I get
Yeah.
leads coming in now that are like a guy that got laid off that was a landscaper or a mason and like now he has to sell his house and it's like shit man, like
Mhm.
you are not who I want to help right now, like you should be
Right.
working. And but
Well, you know what's
yeah.
interesting too, though, is just because I've done real estate for so long,
Yeah,
is when it's going that hot and it's that good. If you've gone
yeah,
through '08 and 2010,
yeah,
I was already mentally like, okay, it's just not, it never lasts forever. So if you're not
right.
stocking up and putting stuff in storage and being ready, um, you just haven't gone through a hard market. And there's that perception is one of the worst things that could happen is you starting in a hot market because the perception is, oh, this is how it always is. And the issue too is that it suppresses the skills that you actually need. It's actually the hard markets that improve the skills and your blind spots. And even that I've gone through the slow markets before, even going through another one, you're still reminded daily, like, oh yeah, I used to do that, or I should start doing this type of stuff. So,
Yeah, you're right on. Like you can't half-ass your remodel like you could. Like you could just barely be
mhm.
paying attention to make money a couple years
Oh,
ago.
and you could overspend, you could be
Yeah.
sloppy with the budget. Because the market, and this happens with a lot of markets, is sometimes you have to look back and be like, the market always makes you look a lot better than you really are.
Hmm.
And it's through these hard markets that you really forces you to make the adjustments. But more importantly, it kind of really makes you refocus on your whole business of like what's working and what's not.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Cool.
Cool,
Well,
man. Well, hey, it's nice to catch up with you. I'm sure you're going to do another call.
yeah, I figure it'll probably be 2 more weeks when the software is
Yeah.
ready. and I'll do another
Okay.
call and hopefully get Alex on here too. And
Nice.
we'll see if we can get a handful of people to use it.
Hmm.
Let me know how it goes. That'll be good.
That'd be awesome. Well, cool, man. Nice catching up with you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Phil.
All right,
Thank you,
man.
bro.
Are you
Thank
still
you.
on?
Yeah, I was just on my treadmill for a few minutes. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thanks for hopping on. Take care.
Okay, have a good one. Thanks.
Bye.